So we're moving out of aeration. I know a lot of you just said it, actually 43% of you are saying that aerating is the area that you know least about. Hopefully we've learned a few things. Oh, we're balancing up a bit now. Someone's come into the whole process. So hopefully you've learned a little bit there. Any questions I haven't answered on aeration, get them in. Yeah, get them in and we'll make sure they get answered. If I don't cover them in this webinar, I'll make sure I answer directly afterwards. So moving into fertilizing. Now, fertilizing and seeding are very, very similar. But fertilizers, any fertilizer you buy has nitrogen, it has phosphorus, and it has potassium, NPK, and you'll see that labelled on the bag. It'll say something like a 15-1-15. That's relating to 15% nitrogen, 1% phosphorus, 15% potassium, for example. Now, nitrogen is responsible for everything above the ground and all the top growth. Okay, so high nitrogen means you're going to get good growth. Phosphorus is responsible for everything below the ground. Okay, so all the root development. Whereas potassium will help with disease resistance, also helps with using moisture more effectively. That's kind of like a side product, but mainly disease resistance. The way to remember that is nitrogen up, phosphorus down, potassium all around. So up, down, all around. So when we come to lawn renovation, it's important that we have high phosphorus. Not too important about nitrogen. The seed has a good amount of nitrogen in it to start to germinate, and the potassium is going to come a bit later, but phosphorus is the key nutrient for lawn renovation. So don't go using a high nitrogen, low phosphorus fertilizer. That will not do. So phosphorus will improve your germination rate. You put down 100% of seed. The more phosphorus you have to a certain point, the more of that seed will germinate effectively. It will improve the germination success. Use pre-seed fertilizer. It's usually labeled pre-seed fertilizer. Our product is Roots and Shoots. It's designed specifically for lawn renovations and pre-seed and pre-turfing applications. You will get stronger roots. As explained, the phosphorus will help those roots develop deeper, thicker, and more dense. Yeah. You will get stronger shoots as well, because the roots developing quickly allows it to pull the nutrients, all those macronutrients as well, from the soil and bring them up into the plant. If you use too much nitrogen, the sword will grow too quick and it will struggle to maintain itself. And the absolute golden bullet here, the little secret sauce, is using bio-stimulants. The one we've gone for in our packages, as I mentioned earlier, is Sea of Green seaweed meal, straight from the Atlantic Ocean. It goes down just like a fertilizer, and it goes down into those cores and helps maintain a nice soil structure, and it makes the soil more fertile. Brilliant product. Smells just like the seaside too. Spreaders, we covered these earlier. The hand Cresco spreader, brilliant for small lawns. You get good control in intricate areas because it's blanked off on one side, and you can adjust the sowing rate as well. The bucket spreader, better for bigger lawns, anything over kind of 200 square meters, I would say, holds much larger volumes. Now the wheels and the turntable are linked via a gear, so the faster you walk, the faster the turntable spins. You control the flow by a sliding gate which opens the gap at the bottom, allowing the fertilizer to fall through. And as I said, the drop spreader for fertilizer, we're not keen on those, but they can be absolutely fine for seed and your soil top dressing. Those are your three options. So how to fertilise then? Up to 1 week before or 1 week after your lawn renovation is when you can put down your high phosphorus pre-seed fertiliser. Now I always go at the same time. One, I've got enough to think about, and if I put my pre-seed fert down a week before as I'm lowering the height of cut, especially if I'm using a rotary mower, I could just draw it all up and throw it in the bin, so I don't want to do that. I do it at the same time while I've got all the kit out and I stick to my process. You're going in at 35 grams per square metre. Simple math that I like, roughly 1 kilo per 30 metres squared. All of our products are sold in 1 kilo bags or 1 kilo denominations, so you get the exact amount. So if you ordered it, your lawn was 150 square metres, you'd get the exact amount. So you ain't got to weigh it out. You just put it in the hopper and spread it. You put half of the fertiliser into the hopper and you spread in one direction. So that's that yellow line, up and down, nice and even. You'll then put the second half, the second amount of your fertilizer in the hopper, and you'll spread in the other direction. Don't be tempted to do it all in one go. You'll run out halfway, you will finish the run and you'll have loads of that. This is a really good way to ensure an even distribution, but at the same time, don't get too held up about it. You're having a nice broad cast from your fertilizer spreader, so that helps alleviate some of these issues. So half of it in, up and down the yellow line, put the other half in and across the red line. Here's a quick video for you.
So each one of your packs is 1 kilo, and we've sent you the exact amount you need to put over your entire lawn area. And for me, in this garden, it's 5 kilos. So what I'm going to do is put 2.5 kilos, that's 2.5 bags, in my Cresco 1 hand spreader hopper. And then I'm going to do the entire garden in one direction. Then I'm going to put the remaining 2.5 kilos back in the hopper, and then do the garden in the other direction. Best practice, you always spread in 2 different directions. My Cresco spreader is going to be set on to number 2. I find with the pace I walk, which is quite slow, that's just a really nice way to get any even coverage. A few things to note: don't use a drop spreader that you'd use for topsoil and seed, because that's just going to drop the fertilizer straight down, and you're going to run a really high risk there of actually burning your turf. So let's get it in the hopper. Okay, so 2.5 kilos in the hopper. I'm going to go up and down to start with, looking at how wide it's casting. And I'm going to spin, make sure I keep spinning this consistently as well. Let's go. So now I've gone up and down, we're going to head in the other direction.
There we go. So this shows how simple the process is of spreading fert, and it's exactly the same for seed as well. So once you're used to one process, it's just rinse and repeat.